Okay, so we have here a bunch of samples that I downloaded from Freesound, and I'm going to be generating a bunch of loops using this samplecat pattern, which is a very simple pattern that simply extracts random bits of these samples and assembles that into a loop. And these are going to sound very repetitive, but they already create these very basic loops that can be reused later with more complex patterns for building more interesting loops. So what you will see me doing here a lot is just clicking on this button here and generating these loops for the next few minutes. So let's go. Okay, this sounds like a snare being repeated, and I like it because it's not very complex, but I can see it being reused and becoming something more like a beat eventually. So I'm gonna save this, and then you have these two options down here. The first one is to simply save it, but you're not saying this is good, you're just saving it because you think it can be reused. And the little star here is going to allow you to somehow say that this is good, right? That you really like this, and by doing this you will save it to this little tab here. So it's going to become a special loop, and you are going to be able to reuse these guys here to generate loops that are more close to what you really want, right? So if I, for example, choose here the layer pattern, of course I cannot choose any of these patterns because I have not too many loops yet here on this tab. So let's continue generating more and see what we can come up with. Okay, I really like this, so I'm gonna bookmark it as well and go forward. I don't like this, so let's go to the next. Yeah, whatever. No. This is okay, so I'm not going to save it with a star. I'm just going to save it and add it to the library, and it's going to this tab here. All the samples that I save with this button here are going to this tab. So yeah, let's continue. Yeah, whatever. Nope. Nope. Yeah, I like this. This is very close to what I imagine a loop to be made of. Okay, so I'm going to give 1 star. Yeah, this sounds almost like a bass drum with distortion, so I'm gonna bookmark it as well. Whoa, this is really nice. Yeah, I really love this. And another feature here that I didn't explain yet is this little bar here that allows you to modify the BPM of the generated loops. So I can shift this to whatever value I want and then play it again. And then you can see that it has become slower or it can become faster. But I think the original value here is okay. Yeah, and another feature related to this is this little button here that allows you to ask the the software here to randomly shift this on every generation. So every time I generate new loop, it's going to choose a value between this range here and use that value. So let's try this. See, it has shifted by itself. But this unfortunately sucks, so I'm going to skip. Yeah, I don't like this so much. This is kind of cool, so I'm gonna save it. Nope. Yeah, this has potential, so I'm gonna just save it and go to the next. Yeah, I like this, so really cool. Cool stuff. This is very ambient like sound. I like this type of sound, so I'm gonna do this. And I think this is enough for us to be able to start remixing these guys here. So what I'm gonna do is to choose a different pattern here. I like to use the X fade a lot when I have very basic repository, because this X fade pattern is going to basically just combine these loops randomly, applying a very basic fade in fade out effect. So let's see how this goes. Yeah, I like this. Let's go again. Hell yeah, this is pretty dope already. Let's keep going. No, too slow. Yeah, I like this. Yep. Cool. Yeah. I really like this. So as you can see, I am saving a lot of these loops that are being generated with the star, which means they keep growing here, this repository of loops with stars. And but of course nothing is preventing me from coming here and working with these other loops, which are the ones that I saved with this button here. So let's start working a little bit here as well, but I'm going to choose a different pattern this time. I'm going to use the delayer pattern because it's going to add some variance to the generated loops. Like the X fade one was simply just fading in, fade out, and the delayer one, however, is going to apply a little delay in one of the loops before merging that with the other. So let's see what we get here. You can notice that the other one started just a little bit after the first one started, so yeah, that's how it works. No, I don't like it. Yeah, I really like this. Very mechanical and robotic sounding. I'm gonna save it and move to the next. Nope. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. Kind of cool, but I don't feel like it deserves a star, so let's just save it. Yeah. Whatever. Okay, this is weird. Okay. Whatever. So what I want to do now is to explore this other pattern here, the mosaic pattern, and come back to the repository where we have all the samples that I downloaded from Freesound, as well as the ones that we generated here, all of these ones. And with the mosaic, you will see that we will be generating a lot of very beat sounding loops, because what this essentially does is to run through pre-compiled list of patterns that I came up with, and it's going to extract random samples from these files here and arrange these samples around these patterns. Okay, so let's see what we come up with here. Okay, kind of cool. No. Yeah, whatever. Kind of glitchy, but sounds okay. Yeah, I like this. And one thing to keep in mind is that even though a loop that is generated here doesn't sound that great, I sometimes see the potential that it has in the future, eventually being reused in order to compose more complex loops. So that's the process that I follow most of the time. So even though I don't think this is great, I'm going to be saving it and doing a lot of this. No. Like this one, for instance, it's not great, but it has some potential, so I'm gonna just save it. Yeah, whatever. I kind of like this noise, this crunchy, distorted noise, so I'm gonna save it. This is actually pretty good, so I'm gonna give it a star. Hell yeah, I like this. Pretty dope. This one is also cool. Yeah. This is kind of cool. No. Whatever. So what I'm gonna do now is to select another another pattern. Actually, I think I'm going to go back to the X fade and come back to this tab here and generate a few more loops with this pattern. Yeah, whatever. Okay, this is kind of nice. I'm gonna save it. No. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, so I think we have a bunch of loops with a star. So let's continue working with these guys here in order to increase the probability of generating better loops. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose the D layer pattern and generate a few more loops with it. Okay. This is great. I like it. Yeah, whatever. Pretty solid. I like it. Instead of leaving this random, I'm going to choose a fixed value like this and go on. Okay. Yeah, this is dope. Oh my god, this is really good. I really like this. Nah, this is weird. Okay. Yeah. Amazing. Very cyberpunkish or something. Yeah. I like where this is going. And then of course we have some other patterns here like the Outbreaker, which is more wild. It has a very very specific way of generating loops. It chooses two random loops and it uses a very specific pattern where it's going to assemble this new loop based on samples extracted from these two loops, and you will see that all loops generated from the Outbreaker pattern, they all sound very similar. So let's see. Yeah, you can notice that it's a very like a break beat that it tries to generate. Yeah, this is like a breakbeat pattern, but using very random samples, and I like this actually. So now I'm going to explore the maze pattern, which is also doing something similar, in which it extracts random samples from random loops and try to assemble that into a new loop, but it does so in a more chaotic way by creating some sort of maze, actually remixing these two loops. So let's see. Yeah, you can see that with these two patterns that I just showcased here, it's going to be a lot more difficult to generate something that is that sounds good, because they are much more random and chaotic, but nevertheless it's a nice option to have, I think. And like I said, you may not end up with a very good loop at first, but eventually you will come here and you start reusing these guys that you generated and trying to create something better out of them. So let's do this now. Actually, let's go back to the X fade and generate a couple of more. I like this sound effect. I'm gonna actually give it a star. Pretty cool. I like it. Nah. Okay, let's actually go back to the random thing here and choose a larger value here so that it doesn't generate loops that are too slow. And let's go to 140 here so it doesn't get too fast as well. And go again. Yeah, I like this. Very ambient stuff. This is kind of crazy. I like the cyberpunk vibe here. Yeah, I like this. Okay, so what I want to do now is go back here to the star folder and select again the delayer pattern and start generating a few more loops with this pattern. Yeah, this is cool. Kind of weird, but I like it. Yeah, like it. Too simple. Yeah, this is a bit weird. I don't know what could be made with this, but it sounds cool. So I'm gonna give it a star. I like it. Yeah, I think this is the best so far. And I think I'm gonna wrap up with this one. Let's play it again. Yeah, pretty dope. And of course, after you produce all of these loops, you can download them individually by clicking on this button here. It's going to save the loop to your computer. And also you can go down here and download all of them at once. And of course this button here is going to be related to the tab where you are currently. So if you are here on the star tab, it's going to download all the loops on this tab, which is what I end up doing almost all of the time, because like I could download these ones as well, but they are supposed to be just stuff that keeps being added here just for increasing the generated loops and having more and more material to vary the outputs. But what you want to do most of the time is just come here to the star and download only the ones that you really enjoy listening to. So yeah, go here.